friends, welcome back to the series where I teach you how to become a Cricut crafting master in 10 easy projects. Today is the final video in this series, and oh my goodness, I sure hope that by the end of today's video you feel like you're going to be able to conquer everything with your Cricut. I love using my Cricut. I have been a Cricut crafter since 2012, and holy cow, has Cricut changed my life and changed the crafting game. For today's project is going to be the toughest project out of the entire series, and that's because we are at the very end. Today, what we're going to make is one really cool gift card holder with a pouch. We're going to create this using shapes in a score line. And we're also going to edit clip art that we find in Cricut Design Space. This right here, you are going to make, and it is going to feel easy breezy, and you're not going to have any issues because I have given you all the tools necessary in projects 1 through 9. So today it's going to feel real easy. Now, just like project 9, you are going to need your scoring tool for this project. Now, this project right here is so teeny that you should be able to use some scrap cardstock, which is amazing. You want to use your scraps before you pull a full sheet of cardstock. The colors that we're going to be using today is Craft Brown. All these cardstocks, mind you, are found in my cardstock warehouse. So we have Craft Brown and then black. We got some white, but then we also have my zero shedding glitter cardstock, which is going to make this craft frustration free for sure, because you're not going to have glitter left anywhere. And that is going to be my evergreen glitter cardstock, and then also my shed free brown glitter cardstock. You're going to want to pick those up, and then we need to go to the computer and do a lot of design work. The assembly of this is super easy. There's not a whole lot of gluing or anything like that, but the real magic is going to be in the design process when we take a rectangle and we turn it into this right here. Are you so excited? I'm so excited to teach you how to do it. Let's go. Okay friends, I am so excited that this is going to be our final project. Frankly, to me, it's going to be the hardest project out of all of them, which it should be because we are on project 10. But we are going to make something absolutely amazing together, and you're going to feel so proud that you did this. So what you want to do is open up a blank window in Cricut Design Space, and we want to go to New Project. Now what we want to do is start with a shape. So we are going to come over here into Shapes, and we are going to insert a square. This kind of feels like project 9 where we created our greeting card, right? Now what you want to do is you also want to go back into Shapes, and you also want to select this score line. Now I'm sure you're like, wait a minute. Are we creating the same greeting card? We're not. We're going to create something so much more amazing. Okay, the very first thing we want to do is we want to make a rectangle the size of our Starbucks gift card, or whatever gift card that you're using. Now, I am pretty certain that all gift cards are all the same. So what you want to do is you want to select your square. We're going to come over here to this unlock button. And for the width, which is going to be the short side of your rectangle, we want to change this over to 2.25 inches and press return. Now for the height, you want this to be 3.5 inches and press return. Now for this one right here, I am going to change this over from this dark charcoal color to white. Okay, now what we need to do is create the pocket that our gift card is going to sit into. The easiest way to do this is selecting our rectangle that we have on our screen. I'm going to come up here into offset, and we have used offset before, and I just want to create a larger offset of my rectangle. Now here's the deal. I want my rectangle to be not rounded corners, sharp edges. So I'm going to click on this, and you're going to see that that blue line went from a curved corner to a sharp corner. When you have your offset created that you like, I like the look of what I have here. I'm doing 0.125. I'm just going to press apply. Okay, now what we need to do is selecting this offset, just kind of like with that card, because we are going to fold this over to create like a pocket, just like the card, right? We want to double the width. So for me, I have 2.5 inches on the width. I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to change the width over to double that. So a little math is required here. If your screen looks exactly like me, You're just going to change this over to 5 and press return, keeping the height the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this black offset, and I'm going to come over here into the black, and I'm just going to change this over to a lighter color so we can see what we're doing. Now what I'm going to do is selecting this score line. I need to make it the same height as my pocket, just like what we did with the card. So the height is 3.75. So this right here needs to be 3.75 and press return. Now I want to take this score line, put it into my gray rectangle, shift on the keyboard, and also click the gray rectangle. So you should have the gray rectangle and your score line. And we want to align this to the center, making sure that it's nice and center on there. So what we're doing now is we're creating a pocket. Now the way that it sits right now, technically this would be a card, right? So I'm going to zoom in. Now what we need to do is create folding flaps to where we can glue our cardstock together, creating an envelope, not a card. What I'm going to do now is go into shapes, and I am just going to click this half moon circle. And for this, I am going to come over here to flip, and I'm going to flip this horizontally. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to butt this up to the top of my card, and then I'm going to take my half moon using the up and down line. I'm going to drag this all the way to the bottom. You want to make sure that your height of your half moon is no taller than your actual pouch that you're creating. Okay, this right here is a very big half moon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. I don't need to use a whole lot of glue. I just need a little bit of a flap to where I can glue my project together. Now what I'm going to do is selecting this flap, because I need to create another one on the bottom. I'm going to copy and paste. Now this one, I am going to rotate this 90 degrees to where the flap is now facing out. For this flap, I want it to go in the inside portion of this score line to the end of my charcoal rectangle. So we're going to zoom in, and we're going to put this over here. And because this is longer than the right side of my pouch, I'm just going to make this smaller. And I don't think I need this large of a tab, so I'm just going to make it smaller like that. Okay, now before we weld this together, what I am going to do now is I'm going to select our original score line, and I'm going to copy and paste. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this score line to where it meets the end, the very end of my gray rectangle. All right, now what I want to do is select my score line. We're going to copy and paste. We are going to rotate this 90 degrees, and I need this to go to the very bottom of my gray rectangle. But do you see how long this is? You don't want it that long. So we just want to shorten it until it meets the very edge of our gray rectangle. All right, that looks good. Now what we want to do is selecting our half moon circle tab things. We're going to press shift on the keyboard. We're going to select all the half circles. We're also going to select our offset, our gray rectangle, and we're going to go to combine and then weld. So this is what your envelope should look like. Now what I want to do is taking this welded weird shape that we have, we're going to drag this to the very back. Now what I want to do is selecting the 3 score lines that we created and also that welded weird shape that we have, and we are going to press attach. Now what we want to do is just drag this to the back. So this gray thing right here is going to be our finished pouch that we are going to slide our gift card into. Now I want my pouch to also be white, just so it matches kind of the theme of coffee, because Starbucks coffee cups, hot coffee cups, are white. So I just want to keep it white. So I'm going to change it from gray. I'm going to click that gray weird shape, and I'm going to change it back to white. So this is what my file is going to look like. Technically does not look like a coffee cup, right? We need to do a little bit more edits to that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this rectangle that we have here, and I'm just going to come up here to the very top where you see that up and down arrow, and I'm going to drag it to where it is the same height at the very top of my rectangle. Do you see how it meets the very top? It's okay for the bottom and the sides, you're fine. You just want to focus on this top part right here. Okay, now what I want to do is build the top of my coffee cup. So I'm going to come over here into images. Then what I'm going to do is insert this hashtag number letter sequence. This will also be in the description of this video. So you can just copy and paste it into this search field, and then you just want to press return. Okay, when you have your image pulled up, you just want to press that plus sign, and then we're going to press view. Now what I want to do is I want to copy and paste this 3 times because I actually want to utilize a couple pieces of this image. So we're going to copy and paste and then copy and paste. So we should have 3 copies of this. Now the very third one that we have here, I want to come down here to contour, and I only want out of this one, this top piece right here. So I'm going to press hide all contours, and I'm going to press this top piece. So it's going to be highlighted. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to press this very outside piece. So now what should be left with, and I wish Cricut would let you move this box, is you should only be left with just this piece right here. When you click out of it, this is what it's going to look like. Now, if you've discovered that this is not what you wanted it to look like, you could just go back up into contour and keep editing until you get just that piece. Now what I want to do is go into the second one. We are going to contour. Now I only want this piece right here. So I'm just going to hide all contours, selecting just this piece, selecting the larger piece because I want to get rid of it. Now I want to click out of that. So you should be left with this right here. Now for this last piece, what I want is this coffee bean. So I'm going to come over here to contour, and I'm going to hide all contours, and I only want just the coffee bean. So this is what your image should look like. Then you want to click out of that. So we have 3 pieces. Okay, going back over into here, I want to drag this down to my card, this right here. This is what we're working on. And I want to put this a little bit smaller. And you want to make sure that this right here is center to your rectangle. So pressing shift on the keyboard, having this one selected. We want to just take our rectangle and we want to align this to the center. And we want to make sure that it's nice and center on there. Now what I want to do is taking this, and I am going to just put this over here, and we're just creating the top of our coffee mug. Doesn't this look like the coffee mug now? I bet it does for you. Okay, making sure that everything is nice and center, we're going to select all 3 pieces, the rectangle and the 2 pieces of the coffee cup. Align this to the center. Now everything's nice and center. Okay, just to make sure that everything we're doing is correct, let's change these black pieces over to a lighter color just for right now. We're going to change it back here in a second, but just to see what we're doing. Because what you want to make sure is, just like with our envelope, that your flaps to your coffee cup are touching and overlapping your rectangle. So what I want to do at this point is I'm going to select these 2 pieces, and I'm going to copy and paste. We're just going to create a duplicate copy. Now what I'm going to do is, taking this rectangle, I'm going to press shift on my keyboard, and then also these 3 pieces, and we're going to go combine and then weld. Okay, when I did that I have that line, that means that when I cut this out, I'm still going to have a cut line. That was not good. I need to go and undo, and then I need to resize things to where I'm making sure that they are all overlap. I'm going to try it one more time, taking these 3 pieces. I'm going to come over here to combine and then weld. Now you're going to see that there is no line right here, which is perfect because this right here is going to be one solid cutout. Now what I want to do is, taking these purple things, I can just change them back to black. If you would have kept the original ones over here black, you would have never been able to see those lines. That's why it's always good to change it over to a lighter color, because you can see what you're doing when you're trying to weld things together. Now that I've changed this over to black, I am just gonna arrange this to the front and I'm gonna drag this over here. So it looks like a coffee cup. I love it. Okay, so right now, this right here just looks real naked. And when I think of a Starbucks warm coffee cup, I think of like a coffee sleeve, you know, like a craft brown coffee sleeve. So what I'm gonna do is come up here into shapes and I'm gonna insert a square. This right here, this right side, that technically is going to be the front side of our pouch. So I'm gonna create this square to fit inside these two score lines. And I want to create the coffee sleeve of which my Starbucks cup would generally have. It does not need to be centered onto your envelope. Just visually needs to fit inside these two score lines. I'm going to change this over to craft brown because I am going to be using my craft brown for this project. And then when I think of like a Starbucks cup, I think of like the iconic circle. So I'm going to come back here into the shapes and I'm going to insert a circle. Now I am going to use my evergreen glitter cardstock. So I'm going to change this over into a dark green and I'm just going to put this over the top of my craft brown coffee wrap. Isn't this so cute? Okay, now what I want to do is I want to insert some coffee beans just to signify. Like if you didn't already know that this was a coffee gift card holder, you're going to know now because I'm going to put some coffee beans into it. So for this coffee bean, I am just going to arrange this to the front. And for my coffee beans, I'm going to be using my brown glitter cardstock. So I'm going to change it from black to dark brown. And I'm going to drag this over into my design. And I want to create a couple of them because I want, you know, you just don't have one coffee bean when you drink coffee, you drink multiple, right? So I'm just going to change this around, make multiples, make them different sizes. Do we love the look of our gift card holder? I love it. I personally love the way that this looks. Looks so good. When you are happy with your design, what you want to do is save your work and press save. Now what we need to do is go pull our cardstock and head over to the machines and cut this out. I'll see you over there. Okay, just like with any project, you want to make sure and grab all the cardstock that you're going to be using because you're probably going to discover that you have good scraps that you could use for this project. Then what you want to do is grab your scoring tool. We did use this in the last video. You want to grab it and you want to insert it into clamp A. And then you just want to close your clamp. And you always want to start with mat 1. Mat 1 for me is going to be white. So I'm going to place this into my Cricut mat and load this up into my Cricut. Now I'm going to be using plain cardstock for the envelope and also my gift card holder. So I am going to switch this over to the cardstock mode, pressing continue on my computer. And like always, you want to make sure that your machine also matches up with your computer. So mine's set to cardstock, my computer says cardstock. Then you want to press the fast cut mode on your computer, then press the blinking C button. And while that cuts, I'm just going to prep my next mat. My next mat is going to be the black. Now when that's done, we're just going to eject. I'm going to place the black into my Cricut and press the blinking C button. Okay, then you always want to remember that when you are switching materials, so I went from a plain cardstock to a glitter cardstock, you want to also switch your cut settings. So for my glitter cardstock, I always cut on the cardstock plus mode, and my setting for my Cricut also matches what is on my computer screen. Then you just want to press the blinking C button. Okay, then we're going to eject and cut our last mat. Okay, then we're gonna just slide away our Cricut because we are done using it. We are almost done with project 10. I am so pumped. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is taking your gift card, you want to put this onto the base of your gift card holder. I love using double-sided stick tape for this, and that just helps because the recipient is going to be able to peel off the tape. The reason why I like this is because it's not going to be like a forever thing. The person is going to be able to take the gift card off of this, and it's not going to ruin like the barcode or anything like that. So I'm just going to set this towards the bottom, just like that. It's going to look like it's not centered, but that's okay. Then what I'm going to do is taking my precision craft glue, and I'm going to put glue on these two pieces right here because that's what we're going to glue these black pieces to. Okay, I am going to glue this onto right here, and then I'm going to take this and I'm also going to glue this on top of the white piece. So this is what your final card should look like, where there is layers on there. And the reason why I didn't weld these together is because I wanted intentionally to have that line in there because that's traditionally what you would see in real life. Okay, so now what you want to do is just set that over to the side because we don't need it. All right, with your Cricut, it does do the score lines. However, sometimes it's pretty light. Taking a bone folder or a credit card or something that is nice and hard on the edge, what you want to do is nicely fold in your score lines, making sure that you bend the paper on your score lines. Okay, when you have crisp edges like that, what you want to do now is taking your bone folder and you want to really crisp up your folds. Okay, so this is what your thing should look like with this right here. Now what you want to do is you want to take your glue. We do not want to go past the half moon. If we do, what will happen is your piece of paper will get glued to this side right here and you won't be able to slide your gift card in. So what I do and suggest is taking your glue and only putting it on the closest to the outer edge. Like this. Do you see how the piece of glue only goes to the outer edge and it's very not close to the outside here where it's gonna like go outside your plane? Okay, doing the same thing with this side. We want to keep it close to the outside edge, not anything more past that because you don't want it to go past it and start gluing your stuff together. Now what you want to do is just lay this down flat and you're going to take your bone folder and we are going to press down our flaps with our glue. This is what it should look like. Okay, and then really it doesn't matter what side that you create as your front because both sides are going to look exactly the same. While we wait for the inside portion of our pocket to be fully dried and glued, I am going to glue down my craft cardstock into the middle of my coffee cup. Then I'm going to glue my circle down. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my little coffee beans and I'm just going to glue them onto my circle. Now this may not look like a whole lot because we're missing our little pocket, but once we put this inside of our pocket, look it. Doesn't this look like a coffee cup? How cool is that? Oh my gosh. You're going to be able to slide this in and out. Isn't this so cute? And you created this all by yourself using free shapes and also a couple random cutouts that we also found on Cricut Design Space. How cool. All right, my crafty friends, we are done with the series. I sure hope you're so proud of your gift card holder because I know if you follow this entire series, you did this with ease, no issues at all. Just to recap how much fun we had in this entire series, you went from a Cricut beginner learning how to just do a simple vinyl decal. Then I told you how to cut out HTV and how to press it perfectly on your garments so you don't have any issues with washing. We went a little harder and we created a layer gift tag even using the pen feature for the third project. Then we layered some HTV and made sure that we had zero shrinkage or alignment issues. We made this cute birthday banner using pennants and letters found in Cricut Design Space. And then we took an existing design that we created and turned it into a wonderfully crafted cake topper. And since we are on the party train, we needed to invite some people to our party. So we created the coolest and one of my best sellers in my Etsy shop, birthday invitations. Making these right here, I think that was my favorite project. Then we made the coolest 3D shadow box. This right here, I actually was just looking at this earlier today, and I was just oohing and awing over how beautiful this ended up turning out. And then I taught you how to make your own greeting card using a free shape and a score line, and also how to make sure our wording is perfectly center onto our greeting card, but also works and functions perfectly. And mind you, we didn't use any glue to make this project. And of course, last but not least, we have our gift card envelope holder. This thing right here is so stinking cute. Oh my gosh. And of course, if you started with project 10 and worked your way back, you probably thought project 1 was way too easy. And it was, but I just wanted to give you tools and a foundation to learning your Cricut, because the last thing you want to do is open your box to your Cricut and go to the hardest project and get frustrated, because friends, crafting should be frustration free. All right, y'all, I sure hope you had a blast in this series. I sure hope you learned so much, and I also sure hope that you feel like a Cricut master, because you should. If you've made all 10 of my projects, you should feel like a Cricut master, and I am so proud of you. I will see you later, friends.